Morning, everyone. How are you? Ado here, part of the social care management team at Crosscare. A member of the social care workers board at Carew. Also a member of the consultative forum for former residents of mother and baby homes and allied institutions. This week, what's drawn my attention is quite a few social care workers online talking about burnout. Interesting topic, so I thought I'd address it. Actually, back in the day when I completed my my degree, my research piece was on burnout specifically using the Maslach burnout inventory test. So burnout is really interesting because for every single person, burnout is very different, and the way we experience burnout is very different, and what brings us to the point of burnout can be very different too. The one sure thing is that in social care settings, it happens a lot, and it happens a lot for a myriad of reasons. But one is that we spend so much of our time very heavily invested in very close relationships with very vulnerable people. And if everything surrounding that relationship is not in good shape, well then there is more and more and more and more pressure put on us as individuals. And that then can lead to burnout. What do I mean when I say of everything else surrounding that? Well, if you haven't got a quality of management that's supportive of the team and the individual, that puts a huge amount of pressure on the social care workers. If your social care management style is very demanding, very autocratic, if they're changing rotas at short notice, if they're asking you to do 2 and 3 24-hour shifts in a row, if they're just generally not respectful of you as an individual, well, that puts extra pressure on you. If the supervision process isn't good, if supervision is just a tick box exercise, or it's very much about, just checking you up on you and, really just focusing on the KPIs as opposed to focusing on you as the individual, your developmental needs, and supporting you to do the best job that you can on the floor. Well, if that's not there, well, then that certainly will lead to burnout. If the team is very disjointed, if they're not pulling together, if there's a backbiting or a bitching type of culture, well, then that can lead to burnout. If you're in the sector a long time, and you haven't made any changes, if you're working with the one type of client base or the one organisation for a long time and there's been no changes, that certainly can lead to a very dissatisfied social care worker, which will then lead to them begin to question themselves, which will then lead to burnout. So, a lot of what happens to us is within our own hands to try and foster some of the change. But if you're getting to the stage where you're getting out of bed and you don't want to go into work, or you're in work and you're thinking about exactly what time can I finish at, well, you may need to look at what the relationship between you and your organisation is. It may not be between you and what we do as social care workers. In fact, I think a lot of the time it's not, because social care, being a professional social care worker, whereby the job we do is invested in the life space of some other vulnerable individual, can happen in a myriad of different ways. It's not always residential. It can be in youth services and family support services, etc., etc., etc. But generally, the organisation and the management is what leads to the stresses on the social care team. That in turn leads to a collective and individual burnout. So have a think about that today. Enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend. See ya.